We'd gone out with Logan and his girlfriend, plus another couple, Skylar and Eddie. They were good people, the kind who made you feel comfortable just being around them. I was talking about work, about how my team had just landed this huge client I'd been chasing for months. I was excited. I gestured toward her and said something like, "Well, my future wife here keeps asking me the same questions about what I actually do all day." I was smiling, thought it was sweet. She cut me off before I could finish. "Can you not call me that?" The entire table went silent. Eddie froze with his beer halfway to his mouth. I looked at her, waiting for the punchline, the smile that would tell me she was joking. Nothing. "Stop calling you what?" I asked. "Future wife." It sounds like I settled or something, like I didn't have options. I put my fork down slowly, looked at her face. She was serious, completely serious. "Good to know," I said. 2 words. That was it. I picked up my fork and went back to my food like nothing happened. But inside, something had shifted. Something permanent. Skylar tried to restart the conversation. Logan jumped in with some story about his boss. My fiancée laughed at all the right moments, even touched my arm a couple times like everything was fine. But she didn't look at me directly for the rest of the night, not once. The drive home was quiet. She scrolled through her phone, occasionally showing me something she thought was funny. I made the appropriate sounds. "Yeah, that's wild." When we got back to the apartment, she kissed my cheek and said she was exhausted. 10 minutes later, she was asleep. I sat on the couch in the dark for over an hour, just thinking, replaying that moment, the tone in her voice, the way she said it so casually, like it was obvious to everyone why being called my future wife would embarrass her. Like I was the problem. Then I opened my laptop. I started with the wedding venue, found the contract with both our names on it, sent a professional email requesting my name be removed, citing personal circumstances and a change in arrangements. All future correspondence should go to her email only. Next was the catering company. Same thing, remove my name, direct everything to her. Then the photographer, the florist, the DJ she'd spent 3 weeks listening to samples for, every single vendor, every reservation, every deposit. Anything that had both our names, I systematically removed mine from it. It took about 2 hours. The wedding website she'd created, the one with our photos and the countdown timer. I had admin access. I removed myself as an admin, changed my status from groom to nothing. Her social media was trickier. I couldn't delete her posts about us, about the engagement, about our journey. But I could untag myself. So I did. Every single post. Months of photos, captions about forever, hashtags about love. I went through all of it. Untag, untag, untag. By 3 in the morning, I had a folder on my desktop labeled Documentation. Screenshots of every email, every confirmation, every receipt, timestamps on everything. I finally went to bed around 4. She was still asleep, curled up on her side, phone still in her hand. I got in carefully, didn't wake her, and I stared at the ceiling until the sun came up. The next morning, she was in a great mood. Made coffee, talked about how fun last night was, how much she loved Skylar and Eddie. Asked if I wanted to go to the farmer's market. "Sure," I said. She didn't notice anything different. Why would she? Everything looked the same. Same apartment, same routine, same guy making breakfast while she picked out an outfit. But I knew something she didn't. I'd already started erasing myself from her plans, and she had no idea what was coming. Monday morning, I went to work like nothing had happened. Same commute, same coffee from the shop on the corner, Same desk I'd been sitting at for 4 years. My job isn't glamorous. I'm a logistics coordinator for a mid-sized distribution company. Basically, I make sure products get from point A to point B without anyone losing their minds. It pays decent, around $23 an hour. Benefits are solid. Nothing to write home about, but nothing to be ashamed of either. Except she always found ways to make it sound smaller than it was. At parties, when people asked what I did, she'd jump in before I could answer. "Oh, he works in shipping," she'd say with this little wave of her hand. Technically accurate. Also technically made it sound like I was loading trucks in a warehouse. When I got promoted last year to lead coordinator, 10% raise, my own team, actual decision-making authority, I told her at dinner. I was excited. She smiled, said, "That's great, babe." Then spent the next 20 minutes telling me about how her coworker Leah got promoted to senior associate at her marketing firm. I noticed it then. Should have paid more attention. Tuesday, she texted me around lunch. "Don't forget brunch with the girls on Sunday. I'm showing them the final venue photos." "Got it," I replied. She sent back a heart emoji, like everything was perfect, like Friday night never happened. I spent Tuesday evening going through our shared calendar. We had one of those couple calendars, color-coded. Blue for my stuff, pink for hers, purple for things we did together. Lots of purple. Engagement party in 3 weeks. Cake tasting 2 weeks after that. Meeting with the officiant. Rehearsal dinner planning session. I changed every purple event to pink. Removed myself as an attendee. The calendar still existed. All her plans were still there. I just wasn't in them anymore. Wednesday, her mom called me at work. Wanted to know if I had preferences for the rehearsal dinner menu. I'd always gotten along with her mom. Nice woman, always treated me with genuine respect. "I think you should ask your daughter about that," I said. "It's her event." "It's both of yours, sweetie." "Not anymore. She'll explain." I hung up before she could ask more questions. Felt a little bad about that, but not bad enough to change course. That night, my fiancée was scrolling through wedding hashtags when she suddenly looked up. "Did my mom call you today?" "Yeah." "What did you tell her?" "She sent me this weird text about checking in with me about the rehearsal dinner." "Told her to ask you. It's your event." She laughed, actually laughed. "Don't be dramatic. You're probably just stressed from work." I didn't argue, just nodded and went back to my laptop. Thursday, I had lunch with Logan. We grabbed sandwiches from this deli near my office. "How's wedding planning going?" he asked. "It's going." He picked up on the tone. Logan's perceptive like that. "Everything okay with you two?" I thought about telling him, explaining the whole thing. Instead, I just said, "You remember last Friday at dinner?" "Yeah, that was weird, right? When she said that thing about settling." "You caught that?" "Dude, everyone caught that. Skylar mentioned it on the drive home. Asked if you guys were fighting or something." "We're not fighting." "Then what's happening?" "I'm just paying attention now, seeing things I should have seen before." He waited for me to elaborate. When I didn't, he changed the subject. But I could tell he was concerned. Friday afternoon, I got an email confirmation. The venue had processed my request. All future correspondence would go exclusively to her email. Contract amended to reflect single-party responsibility. I forwarded it to my documentation folder. Added it to the spreadsheet I'd started tracking everything in. That evening, she came home excited about something. Barely let me get through the door before she started talking. So I was thinking, what if we do a destination bachelor-bachelorette weekend? Like, combined? We could go to this resort in Mexico, everyone together. Skylar and Eddie said they're in. Leah said she could probably make it work. Sounds expensive. It would be, but it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing, right? We could split the cost. Make it work. Once in a lifetime. That phrase. I looked at her. Genuine excitement on her face. Already planning something else I'd have no say in, but would be expected to fund and attend. You should definitely do that, I said. We should do that. No, I mean you. You should plan that with your friends. Do the bachelorette thing properly. But I wanted us to be together. It'll be more fun. I think you'll have more fun without me there. She tilted her head, studying me. Are you mad about something? Not mad, just realistic. You're being weird lately. Since last Friday, you've been different. Good to know, I said. Same 2 words from the restaurant. She caught it this time. Saw the callback. Her face changed slightly, like she wanted to push, wanted to turn this into an argument, but couldn't quite figure out the angle. Fine, she finally said. I'll plan it with the girls. Sounds good. She walked into the bedroom. I heard her on the phone a few minutes later, telling Leah about the Mexico idea, laughing about something. I sat on the couch and opened my laptop, started looking at short-term apartment rentals, month-to-month leases, furnished places, something temporary, just until I figured out the next permanent move. Found one about 20 minutes away. Decent area, nothing fancy. Studio apartment, but it had everything I needed. Available starting next week. I booked it for 2 months. Paid the deposit right there. Sunday was coming. The brunch with her friends. The one where she planned to show off all the venue photos. Talk about centerpieces and seating charts and whatever else she'd been planning without actually asking my opinion on any of it. I had plans for Sunday too. She just didn't know it yet. Saturday morning, I woke up with a clear head and a clear plan. She was still asleep when I got up. I made coffee quietly, grabbed my laptop, sat at the kitchen table. First stop, the jewelry store. The same place I bought the engagement ring 14 months ago. I'd saved for 8 months to afford it. Not because I couldn't get credit, but because I wanted to pay cash. Wanted it to mean something. $8,400. She picked the setting herself. Princess cut diamond, platinum band. Said it was perfect. I called them when they opened at 9. Explained the situation professionally. Engagement called off. Ring never damaged. All original paperwork intact. The woman on the phone was sympathetic but straightforward. Store policy allowed returns within 18 months with a 15% restocking fee. I'd get back $7,140. When can you come in? She asked. Today, within the hour. She was still sleeping when I left. I took the ring from the box in her jewelry drawer. She never wore it at home. Said she didn't want to damage it doing housework. I used to think that was careful. Now it just seemed like she was keeping it pristine for the photos. The transaction took 20 minutes. They verified the diamond, checked the band for damage, pulled up my original receipt. The manager came out, had me sign some paperwork. They processed the refund right there. I'm sorry things didn't work out, the manager said, handing me the receipt. I'm not, I replied. Stopped at an office supply store on the way home. Bought a ring box. Not from the jewelry store, just a generic black velvet one. Nice enough to look official, empty enough to make a point. She was awake when I got back, making breakfast. Where'd you go? Had some errands to run. On a Saturday morning. Wanted to get them done early. She didn't push. We ate breakfast together, and she talked about tomorrow's brunch. how excited she was to show everyone the venue photos, how Leah was bringing her sister who just got engaged and wanted advice, how Skylar was making mimosas from scratch with fresh orange juice. "Sounds nice," I said. "You're being supportive suddenly. I like it." I smiled, didn't say anything. After breakfast, I told her I was meeting Logan to help him move some furniture. Not a complete lie. I'd texted Logan earlier, told him I needed to borrow his truck for a few hours. He asked why. I said I'd explain later. I spent the afternoon moving my essential stuff to the studio apartment. Clothes, laptop, important documents, a few personal items. Nothing she'd miss immediately. The furniture stayed, the decorations stayed. All the shared stuff that made it look like I still lived there. That stayed too. Logan helped me load boxes. Didn't ask many questions, but I could tell he wanted to. "You leaving her?" he finally asked when we were done. "Already left? She just doesn't know it yet." "Man, what happened?" I got tired of being someone's backup plan. He nodded slowly. "Need a place to crash?" "Got it covered, but thanks." We grabbed a beer after. He told me about his week. Some drama at his job. Normal conversation. Felt good to just exist as myself for a minute, not as someone's disappointing fiancé. That evening, I came back to the apartment. She was on the couch watching some show, glass of wine in her hand. "How was helping Logan?" she asked. "Good. His new place is coming together." "That's nice. Oh, I forgot to tell you. The venue sent me an email confirming final numbers. We're all set for June." "Good for you." She looked up. "Good for us, right?" "Sure." She studied my face. I could see her trying to figure out what was different. But I wasn't acting angry, wasn't being cold. I was just there, present but not engaged. It was confusing her. "Are you okay?" she asked. "Never better." "You've been strange all week, like distant. Did something happen at work?" "Work's fine." "Then what is it?" "Nothing, just thinking about the future." "Our future?" "Sure, that too." She set down her wine glass. "Okay, seriously, what's going on?" I looked at her, thought about explaining, thought about listing every time she'd diminished me, every moment she'd chosen her image over my dignity, every instance where I was the punchline instead of the partner. Instead, I just said, "You'll find out tomorrow." "Find out what?" "Tomorrow, at your brunch." Her eyes narrowed. "What did you do?" "Enjoy your mimosas. I heard Skylar's making them from scratch." I stood up, grabbed my keys. "Where are you going?" she demanded. "Out." "Out where? Does it matter?" I left before she could respond. Drove around for a while. Ended up at the studio apartment, the one she didn't know existed. Sat on the empty floor with takeout from a place nearby. Quiet, peaceful. She called me 6 times that night. I didn't answer. She texted asking where I was. I replied at midnight with "home soon." Technically accurate. This was home now. Sunday morning, I woke up early in my new space. Got up, showered, got dressed. Business casual. Wanted to look put together for what was coming. The brunch was at 11. Reservations under her name at this place she loved downtown. I'd been there before. Good food, terrible parking. Exactly the kind of spot she'd pick for maximum social media potential. I called ahead, asked to speak to the manager, explained I needed a favor, something delivered to a specific table, specific seat, specific timing. The manager was hesitant until I explained it was a ring box for a proposal. "Actually, it's the opposite," I said. But she needs to see it in front of her friends. He got quiet. Then he said, I'll make sure it's there. I drove to a coffee shop across the street from the restaurant, parked where I could see the entrance, ordered a coffee, waited. At 10:55, I saw Skylar arrive with Eddie, then Leah with someone who must have been her sister. 2 other women I recognized from her social media. At 11:05, she arrived, saw her get out of her car, check her makeup in the side mirror, smooth down her dress. She looked happy, excited. I finished my coffee, checked my phone one more time, made sure it was charged, made sure the ringer was on. And I waited for her to sit down. I watched through the coffee shop window as she walked into the restaurant. Confident stride, big smile, the kind of energy she always had when she was about to be the center of attention. The table was visible from where I sat. Corner spot, good lighting, perfect for the photos I knew she'd be taking. Her friends were already there, standing to hug her as she arrived. Skylar handed her what looked like a mimosa. Everyone was laughing. My phone was on the table, screen facing up, ringer on high. The manager I'd spoken with earlier appeared at their table. I saw him gesture to the seat, the one reserved for her. She looked confused for a second, then noticed the ring box sitting there on her plate. Even from across the street, I could see her face change. The confusion melted into this surprised joy. She picked up the box, held it up for her friends to see. They all leaned in, excited, squealing I couldn't hear but could definitely imagine. Skylar had her phone out already, recording. Leah was clapping. The other women were grinning. She opened the box. The squealing stopped. I watched her face go through about 5 different emotions in 3 seconds. Confusion, disbelief, understanding, anger, panic. She just stared at the empty box, at the receipt inside, the one that very clearly showed refund processed $8,400 in bold letters across the top. Her friends leaned in to see what was wrong. I watched as they read it, watched as their expressions changed from excitement to shock to uncomfortable sympathy. My phone rang. I let it ring twice before answering. Put it on speaker. Wanted to hear this clearly. What the hell is this? Her voice was shaking. Angry, scared, both. It's a refund receipt. Pretty self-explanatory. Where are you? Doesn't matter where I am. What matters is where you are. Having brunch with your friends, right? Hope the mimosas are good. You need to explain this right now. I could hear the background noise. Her friends trying to give her privacy, but definitely listening. Someone was crying. Probably Leah's sister, the newly engaged one. Nothing kills the romance like watching someone's engagement implode in public. You said I made you look like you settled, I said. Kept my voice calm, even. Last Friday at dinner, remember that? Silence on her end. I'm making sure you don't have to settle anymore, I continued. Check the wedding venue, check the catering, check the photographer, the florist, the DJ. You'll find my name removed from everything. This engagement is off. You can't just decide that. Actually, I can. And I did. Good to know, right? That's what you said. Good to know. So now you know. This is insane. You're being insane over one comment. Not over one comment, because of what that comment revealed. But we can discuss that later if you want. Right now, you have friends waiting. Don't let me ruin your brunch. Don't you dare hang up on me. Enjoy the mimosas. I heard they're made from scratch. I hung up. She called back immediately, I declined it. She called again. Declined. Third time, I turned off my phone completely. I stayed at the coffee shop for another 20 minutes. Watched through the window. She was standing now, pacing near the table. Phone pressed to her ear. Probably calling her mom. Maybe her friends were trying to calm her down. Skylar was sitting with her arms crossed, looking uncomfortable. Eddie was checking his watch. Leah was talking to her sister, who definitely looked like she was crying. The other two women were whispering to each other. This wasn't the brunch she'd planned. The venue photos were probably still in her purse, never shown. The centerpiece discussion wasn't happening. The excited planning session she'd imagined had turned into damage control. I left the coffee shop, drove back to the studio apartment. On the way, I stopped at a storage facility, rented a unit, small one, just enough for the rest of my stuff I'd need to move out eventually. When I got back to the apartment, I sat on the floor. Empty space, quiet. No decorations that weren't mine. No photos of us on the walls. No shared anything. My phone stayed off for 3 hours. When I finally turned it back on, there were 42 missed calls. 31 from her, 6 from her mother, 3 from Skylar, 2 from numbers I didn't recognize, 17 text messages from her. We need to talk. This is childish. You can't do this. Answer your phone. I'm coming over. Where are you? Please. From her mother. Sweetheart, please call me. Let's discuss this calmly. From Skylar. Hey, I don't know what's going on, but she's pretty upset. Just checking in. I didn't respond to any of them. Instead, I opened my laptop, pulled up the email from the wedding venue. The one confirming my name was removed. I forwarded it to her. No message, just the forwarded email. Then the catering company confirmation. Forwarded. The photographer's response acknowledging the change. Forwarded. Every single vendor, every single confirmation, every single piece of documentation showing I'd systematically removed myself from her wedding plans. I sent them all, one after another. 37 emails total. My phone started ringing again before I'd finished. Her mother this time. I answered. Figured I owed her that much. What on earth is going on? She asked. Not angry, just confused, worried. I'm sure she'll explain it to you. She's devastated, crying. She won't tell me what happened, just that you humiliated her in front of her friends. I gave her clarity. There's a difference. Clarity about what? About whether I was someone she was proud to be with or someone she settled for. She made her feelings clear last week. I'm just respecting them. Over one argument? You're throwing away your entire relationship? Not one argument, one revelation. And I'm not throwing anything away. I'm choosing not to settle for being someone's backup plan. She loves you. She loves the idea of a wedding. There's a difference between those things too. Her mother went quiet. I could hear her breathing, processing. You're serious about this, she finally said. Completely. She's going to try to fix this. She can try. Will you let her? I thought about that. About whether there was anything she could say that would change what I now understood about how she saw me. About whether I could ever unhear that comment. Unsee those moments where she diminished me in front of others. No, I said. Her mother sighed. I'm sorry. I always liked you. I like you too. We hung up. The sun was setting when I heard pounding on the apartment door. The old apartment. The one I technically still had keys to, but hadn't slept in for 2 nights. I wasn't there to hear it, but she'd tell me later, much later, that she'd shown up at 7 p.m., pounded on that door for 20 minutes, used her key to get in when I didn't answer, found everything exactly as it should be. My clothes in the closet, my toothbrush in the bathroom, my shoes by the door, everything that would make someone think I still lived there. Except I didn't. Not anymore. And she was just starting to figure that out. Monday morning, I went to work. Same routine, different mindset. She showed up at my office around 11. I was in a meeting when the receptionist called my desk. "There's someone here to see you. Says it's urgent." I knew who it was before I walked out. She was standing in the lobby, eyes red, makeup smudged, wearing sweatpants and a hoodie, which was unusual for her. She cared too much about appearances to ever leave the house looking anything less than perfect. "We need to talk," she said. "I'm working." "I don't care. We need to talk now." The receptionist was watching. 2 co-workers were pretending not to stare from their desks. "There's a coffee shop 2 blocks down," I said. "I'll meet you there in 20 minutes. "No, now. 20 minutes or not at all." She left. I finished my meeting, told my supervisor I needed to step out for lunch early, walked to the coffee shop. She was already there, sitting at a corner table, 2 cups of coffee in front of her. She'd ordered for me. Used to think that was thoughtful. Now it just felt presumptuous. I sat down, didn't touch the coffee. "You can't just end this," she started. I already did. "Over one stupid comment I made at dinner? You're going to throw away 3 years?" It wasn't one comment. It was a pattern. That comment just made me finally see it clearly. "What pattern?" I pulled out my phone, opened the Notes app. I'd been documenting, writing down every instance I could remember. Dates, contexts, exact quotes when I could recall them. "September last year, your company party. Your boss asked what I did. Before I could answer, you said, 'Oh, he just works in shipping.' Just, like it was barely worth mentioning. I didn't mean it like that. March, your college roommate's wedding. During the toasts, she mentioned how you always knew what you wanted. You laughed and said, 'Well, mostly.' Everyone laughed. I was standing right next to you. You're being oversensitive. June, your parents' anniversary dinner. Your dad asked about my promotion. You changed the subject to talk about Leah's boyfriend getting into medical school. Didn't mention my promotion once." She stared at me. "You kept a list." "I kept a record. There's a difference." "This is insane." "No. This is me finally paying attention. You've spent 3 years making me feel smaller so you could feel bigger. I'm done with that." She started crying. Genuine tears this time. "I love you. I want to marry you. You love the idea of getting married. You love the planning, the attention, the Instagram posts. But you don't love me. You tolerate me. And honestly, I'm not sure you even respect me." "That's not true." "Then tell me one time, just one, where you defended me when someone put me down. One time where you publicly acknowledged my achievements. One time where you introduced me as your fiancé with actual pride in your voice." She opened her mouth, closed it, thought hard, couldn't come up with anything. "Exactly," I said. "I can change." "Maybe you can, but I'm not interested in waiting to find out." "So that's it? You're just done? No chance to fix this?" "You didn't want someone you had to settle for. Congratulations, you're free." I stood up. The coffee she'd ordered for me sat untouched on the table. "Don't contact me again," I said. "My lawyer will reach out about splitting any shared assets. Everything else is already separated." "Your lawyer? You already got a lawyer?" "I've been planning this since Friday night. You just weren't paying attention. I walked out, got back to my office. My supervisor asked if everything was okay. I told him personal stuff was under control. Wouldn't affect my work. That week, she tried everything. Showed up at my gym. I changed gyms. Waited outside my office. Security escorted her out after the third time. Sent mutual friends to talk to me. I told them all the same thing. It's over. There's nothing to discuss. Logan called me Thursday night. Skylar's been talking to her. She's a mess. That's unfortunate. Dude, she's seriously falling apart. Maybe you should. Should what? Take her back because she's sad. She wasn't sad when she was embarrassed to call me her future husband. Fair point. I'm not the villain here, Logan. I just stopped being the fool. Friday, 2 weeks after the brunch, I got a text from her. Can we please just talk one more time, as adults? I thought about ignoring it, but there were still some logistics to handle. Shared bank account to close, lease to break, final separations. Fine, I replied. Public place. 3 months later, we were sitting in that same coffee shop where everything had started to end. 3 months changes people. Or maybe it just reveals who they always were. She walked in looking put together again. Hair done, makeup perfect. The version of herself she showed the world. But I could see the difference. Something in her eyes. Uncertainty where there used to be confidence. I was already sitting. Had been there for 10 minutes. Wanted the control of arriving first. She sat down across from me. Ordered a latte. Made small talk with the barista, stalling. Thanks for meeting me, she finally said. You said you wanted to talk as adults, so talk. I've been doing a lot of thinking about what you said, about how I treated you. And you were right about some of it. I did minimize your job sometimes. I wasn't always supportive the way I should have been. Some of it. I'm trying here. I'm trying to acknowledge my mistakes and grow from them. Isn't that what people do? People do a lot of things. Doesn't mean I have to participate. She took a breath, composed herself. I could see she'd rehearsed this, probably practiced in the mirror, probably ran it by her friends first. I want another chance. I know I hurt you. I know I took you for granted. But I've changed. I've been working on myself. Therapy, actually, every week. Good for you. Genuinely, that's healthy. So, can we try again? No. The word landed like a brick. She flinched. Just like that? No discussion? What's there to discuss? You've realized you treated me poorly. Congratulations on the self-awareness. But that doesn't obligate me to give you another opportunity to do it again. I wouldn't. I'm different now. Maybe you are. But here's what you don't understand. It's not about whether you've changed. It's about what you showed me, about how you actually saw me. And I can't unknow that. People make mistakes. There's a difference between a mistake and showing someone who you truly are. You showed me I was an accessory to your life. Someone to fill a role in your story, not a partner, not an equal. Just someone who made you look good when it was convenient. That's not fair. Fair. You told a table full of people that being called my future wife made you look like you settled. And you said it like it was obvious. Like everyone should understand why that would be embarrassing for you. She looked down. No argument for that one. I hope you find someone you're actually proud to be with, I said, standing up. Someone who makes you feel like you're winning, not settling. Because that's what you deserve. And I deserve someone who feels the same way about me. Do you have someone else? No. I have something better. I have myself. And for the first time in 3 years, that feels like enough. I left money for both coffees on the table, walked out before she could respond. 6 months later, I was at Logan and Skylar's place for dinner. They'd had me over a few times since everything ended. Never mentioned her, never pushed, just let me exist as myself. "You seem good," Skylar said, pouring wine. "I am good, like actually good, not just saying it, actually good. Got a promotion at work last month, started training for a marathon, joined a book club." Logan laughed. "A book club? You?" "Turns out I like reading when someone isn't telling me it's a waste of time." We ate dinner, talked about normal things, movies, politics, Logan's terrible attempt at fixing their dishwasher. As I was leaving, Skylar hugged me. "I'm proud of you," she said, "for knowing when to walk away." "Thanks. I'm proud of me too." I drove home to my apartment. The studio had turned into a 1-bedroom after 3 months, then a 2-bedroom near my office. Each place a little nicer, a little more mine. I'd learned something important. The right person doesn't make you feel like they settled. They make you feel chosen. And until I found that, I was perfectly fine choosing myself. Every single day. Our story has come to an end. If you've made it this far, how about subscribing to our channel? It helps us immensely. I've selected 2 other videos for you that I'm sure you'll enjoy. Feel free to click on them. I'll be waiting for you in the next story. See you soon.